Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. We're doing pandemic projects again. This one was sent in all the way from Hawaii. This one comes from Ken. And interestingly enough, Ken in Hawaii actually comes from New Jersey. So we were exchanging some notes along the way. I guess he's a transplant, but he lived not that far away from where my shop is. But that's not why he sent it in. He sent it in because he has a problem that I would suspect is not that uncommon, because I get questions on that a lot. So much so that I've actually saved the file. But we have a 302. It's the Garcia Mitchell 302. It's a Rough Rider. There's no question about that. And Ken asked me if I can tune it up. As I'm going through here, I'm seeing that there's old grease and the like on the shaft here, and the shaft's got some play in it. And I'm going to get to that, but that's not the subject of the video at the moment. Subject of the video is he sent me a package of an exploded spool. Had all the pieces. Well, he didn't have all the pieces. He had pieces in a little plastic bag like this, missing some, and he said, you know, I got to get the spool back together, right? How do I do that? So we're going to work on today. How do you do that, right? This is kind of complicated. There's not any felt washers that you would be aware of, and interestingly enough, this spool was designed that you can leave the spool intact and take the post off of the axle shaft. Sometimes people just pull the spool off by removing the top cap and the screw, and then when they remove that top cap, generally the top of the spring comes off, and when the top of the spring comes off, pieces and parts tend to just kind of go everywhere. But understand that this has been designed so that you can remove the whole spool just like that. And you can see there's a lot of discoloration and some old grease and the like on there, some dirt underneath the spool piece here. But the idea is you don't have to take that spool apart unless you're having a problem with the drag. I can't tell you how many times I get the spool in pieces and parts with the SOS or the help me coming in from behind that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to leave this off for a moment. And if you have that stuck on there and it's not moving, so what you can do is take some penetrating oil like a WD-40, spray it down the hole here, let it sit for a while, because these are the threads that you're going to have to work on in terms of getting this loose from that. And those threads, generally, they're right there. So if you just kind of hit that in the center there with some WD-40, eventually it should loosen up. And Mitchell made it a little bit easier for you in that it's got squared shoulders over here on the two sides of this. So if you need to, you can put an adjustable wrench, or maybe even, I don't know if I have a small enough wrench. The 8mm might work. Well, that's the 10. So an 8 or a 9mm may be able to help you just kind of grab that along, and it goes in a counterclockwise direction. It's traditional. So if you need to take that off, you don't have to take this off. If you leave that tight, you can generally just kind of unscrew that and find yourself in a lot better position than what's on the table here. Well, Ken was missing some parts. Now I got parts, but how did they go, right? So Mitchell was helpful to us. On the back of most spools, at least when they issued this, on the back of most spools they actually gave you the drag sequence. Now, most of the time spools don't have that on there. This one does. It's actually clearer, but most of the time you don't have that access. So if you don't have that, what do, right? Well, you can cheat. You can get another 302 spool, take all of this apart, don't spray it around, just take a look at it and disassemble it and say, geez, okay, that's the sequence, and replicate it here. In this case, I know I was missing pieces and parts, but I wanted to share with you that file that I save all the time because I get that question so much. This used to be on a site called the Mitchell Real Museum .com, I believe. And that one kind of faded away. It became a ghost one. But there was a group out there called Mitchell Reels that took up that site, and most of the stuff that was on the Mitchell Reel Museum got ported over. So if you go to mitchellreels.rboard.org, you can get the exploded view of all of the pieces and parts and components that belong in that spool and the sequence that they belong in. So that's kind of my cheat sheet, if you will. I have 3 ways to do it. I can go to the back of the spool. If that little decal is still there, I can take it out and look at it physically, or I can follow along with the diagram. And since I've done this a couple of times, let's go ahead and follow along with the diagram. We're going to take the post. The post is going to get inserted into the spool. While I'm at it, I might as well clean the bottom of the post. And I don't have my glove on because this is kind of reassembly here. It's not, I don't expect to get dirty doing this, but who knows. All right, clean the inside of your spool just because we have it all out. The inside of this has been cleaned. And then we start to assemble. So we have a eared washer first. There's a series of these. Ear washer goes in. Sometimes you can be lucky. I think the later spools actually have a Teflon one here. In this case it doesn't. It has the old metal one. And then you have a keyed washer, which has those 2 flat sides. Get those flat sides posted. And this is where a pick is pretty good because you're kind of working in that recess there. And then it says, have another eared washer going in. And then we have another keyed washer going in. So this, you know, a lot of folks think that because they're just metal, you know, where's the sensitivity in it? Well, that comes with a big giant spring there, but this has been proven to work. Then we have this little fan kind of a clip, and that's also keyed. So get that in. And then we have a C-clip, kind of this is the clicker. When your drag is going backwards, that's actually what's clicking. Those 2 little teeth are grabbing the little indentations there. So that goes in next, and that's eared. And those points go down so that it can make that click kind of when it's riding there. All right. Next up then we have the pressure plate for the bottom of the spring. This has got a little ridge on it. There's 2 ridged pieces. One is a big ridged piece. The other is a small ridged piece. This ridge rides in the post and keeps that down, so it goes with the ridge point down. Like that. Then you can mount the top of the spring. Then we have this carrier. Now this carrier actually belongs inside of the wing here. And I always find it easier to get this thing clamped down. So take the carrier, in my case, and it's got that neck or that lip on there, so it's going to hold inside that spring. I like to get that started. Right now I have a functional drag. There's one more piece. There's this little upside spring. That upside spring points up in the neck of the holder. Then we have our screw, which goes through, and this is the best time to do this. Put the screw through so that you can hold that little star piece in place. Find your points that are going to match to your spring tensioner and get the whole thing set in there. Sometimes it's easier said than done. There we go, that's on. And sometimes you're going to find a different knob up top. You'll see you have a wider star one here than you do on this one. Doesn't matter, the insides are basically the same. Alright, then we can attach that screw. Easier said than done sometimes. And that's your drag assembly. That then can screw on now. You take that and you screw the whole spool on. Make sure it's nice and tight on there. Tighten down your drag. And there you go. You have a tight drag on the reel. And then, of course, if you're not using it, back that drag off. And again, if you want to remove the whole spool, just turn the whole spool. All right, I'm going to go service this reel. I've done a 302 video on servicing the reel. I'm going to go ahead and service it. I want to find out what that play is here. And seems like it's a little bit of a rough rider. There's a grind in that gear. Not quite sure what that's about, but I wanted to show you and take the time to explain how that drag stack works, so that if you encounter that problem, you now have solved the problem as part of that effort. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please like it. If you have comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section. If you have questions about a fishing reel maybe you're working on, like this one became a question. If you're working on a fishing reel and you're kind of stuck, then shoot me a question in the comments, regardless of what kind of reel it is. I'll see if I can't help get you back on the right path. If you want to see more of these, please subscribe. That way you won't miss any of the postings that I make, and I do post frequently. And finally, if you have a reel that needs repair and you're interested in having me service that reel, then drop me a line on the email that follows on my business card. I'll be happy to provide you with the repair information. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.